Discovery and First Contact. Senior xenobiologist Nix stared at her holographic display in disbelief, her 6 tentacle-like appendages frozen in mid-gesture. The data couldn't be right. She ran the analysis again, recalibrating her instruments and feeding the raw readings through 3 different algorithms. The result remained unchanged. Impossible, she whispered, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with anxiety. Planet T-3467, known to its inhabitants as Earth, registered as a Class 13 Deathworld. In the 9 millennia of Galactic Council exploration, no inhabited world had ever surpassed Class 8. Even the most resilient species in known space couldn't survive beyond Class 10 environments. And those were exclusively extremophile microorganisms. Yet, according to her readings, this blue-green planet in an unremarkable spiral arm hosted not only complex life, but an emerging technological civilization. Directors all must see this immediately, Nix decided, downloading the data to a secure crystal. The Central Scientific Authority headquarters loomed above the capital city of harmonious accord, its crystalline spires catching the light of 3 setting suns. Inside, Director Zell's carapace clicked nervously as he studied Nix's findings. "This changes everything," he said finally, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic representation of Earth. "The Council must be informed. If these readings are accurate." "They are," Nix interrupted, her professional composure momentarily forgotten. "I've verified them 17 times." "Then we may be facing the most significant discovery, and possibly the greatest threat, in Council history." Within 12 hours, an emergency session of the Galactic Council convened. Representatives from 200 member species filled the grand auditorium, their forms ranging from crystalline entities to plasma beings contained in specialized suits. High Counselor Vex, eldest of the Lumen Array, called the session to order. "Esteemed colleagues, we face an unprecedented situation. Senior xenobiologist Nix will present her findings." Nix projected her data for all to see. Planet T-3467, locally known as Earth, exhibits environmental conditions that should render complex life impossible. Atmospheric oxygen at corrosive levels, extreme temperature variations, crushing gravity, constant tectonic activity, intense radiation from its star. By every metric we use, this world qualifies as Class 13. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. "And yet," she continued, "it supports not only life, but a species called humans who have developed primitive spaceflight capability. Their biological adaptations defy our understanding of evolution." Ambassador Kreth of the Xerai Dominion rose from his cushion of living mercury. "The implications are clear. Any species evolving in such conditions would possess physical resilience and adaptability that makes them inherently dangerous. I propose immediate containment protocols." "Containment," Ambassador Liera of the Cetherian Collective countered, her feathers bristling. "We're talking about a sentient species with rights under Council law." "Rights that apply to species evolving under normal conditions," Kreth argued. "These humans are statistical anomalies, potentially dangerous ones." The debate raged for hours. Some council members advocated for quarantine, others for observation, and a few extremists even suggested preemptive measures to neutralize a potential threat. Finally, High Counselor Vex raised his crystalline staff. "We will proceed with caution and wisdom. A first contact team will be dispatched to Earth. They will assess these humans and determine whether they pose a threat to galactic peace." The first contact vessel, Eternal Curiosity, prepared for its mission to Earth. Commander Telix, a veteran of 17 successful contact missions, assembled an elite team. Xenobiologist Nix, who discovered Earth's classification. Cultural specialist Zin, whose neural pathways could rapidly process and adapt to new social structures. Security Officer Kral, whose silicon-based biology offered enhanced protection against unknown threats, and communications expert Elio, who could decipher new languages with remarkable speed. "This mission differs from any we've undertaken," Telix told his team during their final briefing. We're entering conditions lethal to most Council species. Your environmental suits have been specially designed for Earth's conditions, but they remain untested in actual Class 13 environments. Nyx checked her equipment nervously. The humans' communication systems are primitive but decipherable. They've been broadcasting electromagnetic signals for over 2 centuries. We've compiled a basic understanding of their major languages and cultural systems, which appear remarkably violent, Security Officer Krull noted, his crystalline form shifting uneasily. Context matters. Cultural specialists encountered, her holographic interface flickering. What appears as aggression may be adaptive behavior for their environment. The journey to Earth took 27 standard cycles. As they entered the Sol system, the team marveled at the harsh conditions. Searing radiation from the yellow star, gas giants with crushing gravity, asteroid fields that would shred most ships. And then, there it was, Earth. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown landmasses. It looks peaceful, communications expert Elio observed. Appearances deceive, Krull responded. Those oceans are primarily dihydrogen monoxide, corrosive to 12 Council species. The atmosphere contains nitrogen and oxygen at levels toxic to most life forms. The Eternal Curiosity established orbit, and the team began passive observation. They monitored communications, studied population centers, and analyzed human behavior patterns. They're constantly fighting their environment, Nyx observed with fascination. Look at these clothing adaptations for temperature regulation. Their shelters protect against everything from precipitation to wind to seismic activity. Their social structures are equally adaptive, Zinn added. They form cooperative units while maintaining individual autonomy. They appear simultaneously competitive and collaborative. After 2 Earth weeks of observation, Commander Telix made his decision. We've gathered sufficient data. It's time for direct contact. They selected a remote location in what humans called New Zealand, isolated enough for privacy, but connected enough to reach global communication networks. The Eternal Curiosity deployed a shuttle, which descended through Earth's turbulent atmosphere. As the landing craft touched down in a grassy field, the team donned their environmental suits, the most advanced protective technology the Council could provide. The suits monitored every aspect of Earth's hostile environment: gravity compensation, atmospheric filtration, temperature regulation, and pathogen barriers. The team emerged onto Earth's surface. The gravity pulled at them despite their suits' compensators. Wind buffeted them with unexpected force. The brightness of the sun struck through protective filters. By the ancients, Nyx breathed. It's even more intense than our readings suggested. They'd barely begun setting up their contact equipment when they detected approaching vehicles. Humans had noticed their landing despite the stealth technology. Prepare for first contact protocol, Commander Telix ordered, his outer membrane rippling with tension. 3 vehicles approached, primitive combustion engine transports. They stopped 100 meters away, and 5 humans emerged. The aliens were shocked to see the humans wearing only thin fabric coverings, no environmental protection whatsoever. They walked directly on the ground with minimal foot protection. They breathed the corrosive atmosphere without filtration. They exposed their skin to the radiation from their sun. Impossible, Krull whispered. One human stepped forward, a female with dark hair tied back. She wore a simple blue uniform with insignia indicating some official position. She showed empty hands in what cultural databases suggested was a non-threatening gesture. I'm Dr. Eleanor Chen, representing the United Earth Council. She called out in clear tones. We welcome you to Earth. Communications expert Elio activated the Universal Translator. We are representatives of the Galactic Council, here on a mission of peaceful contact. Dr. Chen smiled, a facial expression indicating positive emotion. We've been wondering when someone would answer our signals. Would you like to come inside? We've prepared a meeting facility. Commander Telix hesitated. Our environmental requirements differ significantly from yours. The human looked confused. Our scientists can accommodate whatever needs you have. Oxygen levels, gravity, temperature. We can adjust any of those parameters." The alien team exchanged glances. These humans were casually offering to manipulate conditions that most species would find impossible to control. They followed the humans to a nearby structure, entering through a series of airlocks. Inside, they found a room with various seating arrangements designed to accommodate different physiologies, an impressive feat for a species that had never encountered aliens before. "How did you prepare these accommodations without knowing our requirements?" Nix asked. Dr. Chen shrugged, a gesture indicating casualness. "We've been theorizing about alien contact for centuries. We figured that different species would have different needs, so we designed for flexibility." As the discussion proceeded, the first contact team made an astonishing discovery. Humans didn't view their planet as particularly hostile. To them, Earth's conditions were simply normal. "You mean other worlds don't have storms?" asked one human scientist, sounding disappointed. "Most inhabited worlds have stable climates with minimal variation," Zin explained. "That sounds boring," another human remarked. Over the following days, the cultural exchange continued. The humans were fascinated by descriptions of galactic society, while the alien team was increasingly amazed by human resilience. They watched humans consume substances that would be toxic to most species: caffeine, alcohol, capsaicin, apparently for pleasure. They observed humans engaging in recreational activities that involve deliberate risk to their physical forms: climbing sheer rock faces, diving into deep water, racing at high speeds. "They seek out stress voluntarily," Nix reported back to the council. "Their bodies produce chemicals called endorphins that reward them for surviving challenges. They've evolved to crave the very conditions that would kill other species." At council headquarters, the implications caused panic. High Councilor Vex called an emergency session, where Nix reports were debated with increasing alarm. "These humans don't merely survive in Class 13 conditions," Ambassador Kreth argued. "They thrive on challenge. They adapt to overcome obstacles. Imagine such a species expanding into the galaxy. They could colonize worlds we consider uninhabitable. They could outcompete established species." "That assumes hostile intent," Ambassador Liera countered. "Their eagerness for contact suggests openness to cooperation." Meanwhile, on Earth, the situation suddenly changed. A massive geomagnetic storm, routine for Earth but shocking to the visitors, disrupted communications with the Council. Simultaneously, the team's sensors detected an approaching spacecraft that matched no known signature. "Another species has found Earth," Commander Telix realized with alarm. "And they're not from the Council." The unknown vessel established orbit and began scanning the planet with energy signatures, suggesting weapons technology. When the first contact team tried to establish communication, they received no response. "They're preparing for hostile action," Security Officer Kral determined, analyzing their patterns. Commander Telix faced a decision. Protocol dictated non-interference, yet the humans had shown nothing but peaceful intentions. Could they stand by while an unknown force threatened this newly discovered species? Before he could decide, Dr. Chen entered their communication center with urgent news. "Our defense systems have detected the alien vessel," she reported calmly. "We've attempted communication but received no response. We're preparing countermeasures." The alien team stared in shock. These humans, with their primitive technology, were planning to defend themselves against an advanced spacecraft. "Dr. Chen," Nix said carefully, "your technology is significantly less advanced." Chen's expression showed no fear. "We're aware of the technological gap. But Earth has never been an easy target. We adapt. We overcome. It's what humans do." As the unknown vessel began its approach, Commander Telix made his decision. Protocol or not, he couldn't stand by and watch. "Dr. Chen will assist in your defense. This may be exactly why the Council needed to discover Earth. Perhaps humans are not the ones who need protection, Perhaps the galaxy needs what only a Class 13 species can provide. For the first time in Council history, representatives of galactic civilization stood side by side with beings from a Deathworld, preparing to face an unknown threat together. The impossible alliance was about to be tested by fire. Alliance and revolution. The unknown vessel descended through Earth's turbulent atmosphere with ominous precision. Commander Telex and his first contact team watched in stunned silence as Dr. Chen coordinated Earth's defense response, calm and methodical despite the overwhelming technological disadvantage humans faced. Activating planetary shield grid, a human technician announced. Shield grid, Nix whispered to Zin. Their technological database showed no such capability. The answer came moments later as thousands of small satellites across Earth's orbit activated simultaneously, generating an electromagnetic field that disrupted the approaching vessel's navigation systems. The ship wavered, its descent pattern becoming erratic. Primitive but effective, Security Officer Krull observed with newfound respect. Dr. Chen turned to Commander Telex. "We've bought some time, but we need information. What are we dealing with?" Telex hesitated only briefly before sharing what his ship's sensors revealed. They appear to be Vorax Raiders, a non-Council species known for resource plundering. They target pre-spacefaring civilizations, strip planets of valuable elements, and leave. The Council has been trying to contain their activities for centuries, so they're basically cosmic poachers, Chen said with surprising equanimity. Well, they picked the wrong planet today. What followed astonished the first contact team. Despite their technological limitations, humans coordinated a multi-layered defense that combined misdirection, electronic countermeasures, and targeted strikes. They didn't have advanced weapons, but they utilized what they did have with remarkable ingenuity. When 3 Vorax landing craft broke through the orbital defenses, they were met not with panic but with organized resistance. Humans used their knowledge of Earth's hostile environment as a weapon, luring raiders into weather systems that damaged their equipment, using terrain to tactical advantage, and displaying combat techniques evolved from millennia of fighting each other. Commander Telex, after witnessing human military units function effectively in conditions his species would consider catastrophic, made an unprecedented decision. He authorized the Eternal Curiosity to provide tactical support, sharing real-time data on Vorax vulnerabilities. The battle lasted 17 hours. When it ended, the Vorax fleet retreated, having lost multiple landing craft and encountering resistance, unlike anything they had experienced from a primitive world. In the aftermath, as humans tended their wounded with remarkable resilience, High Counselor Vex finally re-established communication. "Commander Telex, the ancient being's holographic form flickered with agitation. You have violated non-interference protocols. Explain yourself." Telex stood firmly beside Dr. Chen. "High Counselor, I witnessed something the Council needs to understand. These humans don't merely survive their Class 13 world. They've weaponized its conditions. They've evolved to turn adversity into advantage. And today, they defended themselves against a threat the Council has struggled to contain for generations." Vex's crystalline form shifted in the equivalent of surprised body language. The Vorax were repelled by a pre-Council civilization. "With minimal assistance from us," Telex confirmed. "And now they've requested Council membership." A stunned silence followed before Vex spoke again. "That's impossible. They lack the technological requirements, the societal unity. They don't lack anything," Nix interrupted, her scientific objectivity overwhelming protocol. "We've been measuring them by standards evolved on Class 3 and 4 worlds. Earth has forced its inhabitants to develop different strengths, adaptability, ingenuity, resilience, qualities our metrics don't properly value. After lengthy deliberation, the Council made an unprecedented decision. Earth would be granted provisional membership status, and a human delegation would be invited to the Galactic Core to address the full assembly." 2 months later, Dr. Chen led a delegation of 12 humans aboard the Council diplomatic vessel Concordance. The ship had been specially modified to maintain a Class 13 environment in the human quarters, modifications that cost more than some planetary development projects. As they approached the Galactic Core, Dr. Chen and her team underwent intensive briefings on Council protocol and galactic politics. Remember, Ambassador Liera advised them, many Council species will find your very existence disturbing. You represent an evolutionary path they've never encountered before. Chen nodded. We're used to being underestimated. Sometimes that's our greatest advantage. The Galactic Core system of harmonious accord hosted the Council's central worlds, 7 planets terraformed to Class 3 specifications, perfect for the majority of spacefaring species. The capital world gleamed with crystalline spires and perfect environmental control. No storms, no earthquakes, no temperature variations. To human eyes, it appeared sterile and artificial. It's like they're all living in a museum, whispered Commander Samuel Jackson, Earth's military representative. Beautiful but rigid. As the human delegation was escorted to their specially prepared quarters, they passed through the Grand Concourse, a massive public space where representatives from hundreds of species mingled. The appearance of humans caused immediate reaction. Some species retreated, their biological fear responses triggered by the mere presence of Deathworlders. Others approached cautiously, scientific curiosity overcoming caution. Is it true you drink poison for pleasure? Asked a tentacled being through its translator. If you mean coffee, then yes. Dr. Chen replied with a smile. Would you like to try some? The being recoiled in horror. The formal presentation to the Council was scheduled for the following day. That night, however, disaster struck. The environmental systems in the human quarters failed catastrophically, raising the temperature to levels lethal for most Council species and flooding the air with toxic compounds. Security protocols automatically sealed the section, trapping the humans inside what should have been a death chamber. Ambassador Liera rushed to the control center, demanding emergency evacuation. There's no need, came Dr. Chen's calm voice over the communication system. We're fine. When security forces finally overrode the lockdown, they found the human delegation comfortably gathered in their common area, some even sleeping through the crisis. The conditions are a bit warm, Commander Jackson admitted, but nothing compared to summer in Arizona. The incident was initially classified as a technical malfunction, but Nix, analyzing the system logs, discovered deliberate sabotage. Someone had attempted to eliminate the human delegation by creating conditions lethal to most galactic species, forgetting that such conditions were merely uncomfortable for humans. The sabotage was designed to look like a tragic accident. Nix reported to Commander Telix, if humans were normal beings, they'd all be dead. And we have a good idea who's responsible, Security Officer Kral added. The Xaray Dominion has been most vocal against human inclusion. The human delegation insisted on proceeding with their council address, despite the attempt on their lives. If anything, they seemed energized by the challenge. As Dr. Chen prepared her presentation, Ambassador Kreth of the Xaray Dominion approached Commander Telix. These humans should not address the council, the Mercury-based being insisted. Their presence destabilizes the careful balance we've maintained for millennia. That balance is based on shared biological limitations that humans don't possess, Telix replied. Perhaps it's time for new perspectives. The grand auditorium filled beyond capacity as representatives from every council species gathered to witness the human address. Dr. Chen stood before them, a small figure by many galactic standards, but radiating a presence that commanded attention. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she began, we come from what you call a Class 13 Deathworld, but we call it home. For thousands of years, we thought we were alone in the universe. We looked up at the stars and wondered if anyone else was out there, facing the same challenges, asking the same questions. She paused, letting her gaze sweep across the assembly. Now we know we're not alone, but we've discovered something unexpected. What we considered normal. Storms, temperature variations, gravity, atmospheric composition. You consider lethal. The conditions that shaped our evolution are considered impossible to survive by most galactic standards. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Last night, someone tried to kill my delegation by creating conditions similar to a mild summer day on parts of Earth. A shocked silence fell over the assembly. I don't mention this to accuse anyone, but to illustrate a point. Perspective matters. What's deadly to one species is comfortable to another. What seems impossible from one evolutionary path is routine from another. As she continued her address, Ambassador Kreth signaled to several security operatives positioned throughout the chamber. Unnoticed by most, they moved to block key exits while others approached the environmental controls. Security Officer Krall noticed the pattern first. "Commander," he whispered urgently to Telix, "the Zerai are making a move." Before they could react, the chamber's environmental systems shifted dramatically. Temperature plummeted. Atmospheric composition changed. Even gravity intensified. Conditions fatal to most Class 3 and 4 evolved species. Panic erupted as council members collapsed or fled toward emergency shelters. Ambassador Kreth's voice boomed through the chaos. "See how fragile your precious civilization is. One environmental shift, and you're helpless. These humans represent evolutionary chaos that will destroy everything we've built." In the center of the chamber, the human delegation stood unaffected, the sudden environmental shift barely registering as uncomfortable to their Deathworld physiology. "Commander Jackson," Dr. Chen said calmly, "please secure the environmental controls. Dr. Patel, assist any council members in distress." The humans moved with purpose through conditions that paralyzed most other species. Commander Jackson easily overcame the Zerai operatives, their mercury-based forms sluggish in the cold. Dr. Patel, Earth's medical representative, administered emergency care to suffering council members. Ambassador Liera watched in amazement as humans carried crystalline beings twice their size to safety, administered emergency care using improvised tools, and maintained organization amid chaos. These weren't just survivors, they were protectors. Within 20 minutes, the humans had restored environmental conditions, secured the Zerai conspirators, and begun treating the injured. What was meant to be a demonstration of human inferiority had instead showcased their unique capabilities. When order was finally restored, High Counselor Vex addressed the assembly from a medical support unit. His ancient form had barely survived the attack. "Today we witnessed two visions of our galactic future," he said, his voice weak but determined. "One based on fear, seeking to preserve rigid hierarchies and evolutionary conformity. The other demonstrating adaptation, cooperation, and respect for difference." He fixed his compound eyes on Dr. Chen. The humans not only survived conditions meant to kill them, they used their abilities to save others rather than secure advantage. This is not the behavior of a threat, but of allies we never knew we needed. Ambassador Kreth and his conspirators were taken into custody, facing charges of attempted mass murder and treason against the Council. In an emergency session, the Council voted overwhelmingly to grant Earth full membership status, the fastest ascension in galactic history. But the implications went far beyond diplomatic recognition. Earth's classification forced the Council to reconsider its fundamental understanding of life, evolution, and potential. Research teams from across the galaxy requested permission to study Earth's unique conditions. Educational exchanges began, with young scientists from Council worlds braving Earth's environment to learn new perspectives. The galactic classification system itself underwent revision. What was once a linear scale of habitability became a multidimensional matrix recognizing different evolutionary paths. Species previously marginalized for their extreme adaptations gained new recognition and status. 6 months after first contact, Commander Telix and his team prepared for departure from Earth. Their mission, initially expected to last weeks, had extended far longer as they documented the ongoing integration of humans into galactic society. I never expected to become comfortable on a Class 13 world, Nix admitted as she packed her research samples. Yet now I find certain aspects invigorating. The unpredictability, the constant change. The humans have a saying, Zin replied. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. Their entire evolutionary history is proof of this concept. On their final night, Dr. Chen hosted a gathering at her coastal home, a structure perched on the edge of a massive ocean that would terrify most galactic species. As rain lashed the windows and lightning illuminated the churning sea, the humans and aliens shared a meal together. To new friendships, Chen toasted, raising a glass of wine, a substance that registered as mildly toxic on council scanners. Commander Telix raised his own specially prepared drink. And to new perspectives. Because of Earth, the galaxy will never be the same. Later, as Telix stood on the balcony watching Earth's powerful weather systems at work, High Counselor Vex connected via secure channel. Your final assessment, Commander, the ancient being asked. Telix watched lightning strike the turbulent ocean as humans on a nearby beach continued their recreational activities, undisturbed by conditions that would trigger emergency protocols on any council world. Humans aren't just survivors of a Class 13 world, High Counselor. They're its masters. They turned evolutionary pressure into progress, adversity into advantage. And most importantly, they've maintained compassion and cooperation despite evolving in conditions that should have produced only ruthless competition. He paused, choosing his words carefully. The galaxy has grown complacent in its controlled environments and careful engineering. Perhaps we needed a reminder that life finds a way, even in the harshest conditions. Perhaps we needed Earth. As the Eternal Curiosity departed Earth orbit the next day, the crew observed a small human vessel venturing toward Mars, their first interplanetary colony ship. Despite their primitive technology, humans were already expanding outward, eager to face new challenges. They'll change everything, Nix said, watching the tiny ship on their sensors. Yes, Commander Telix agreed. And the galaxy needs it. Back at Galactic Core, Earth's classification remained formally listed as Class 13. But a new notation had been added to the official record, home to humanity, specialists in achieving the impossible. Far across the galaxy, other species evolving on challenging worlds received their first council contact messages. The age of Deathworlders had begun, and with it, a new understanding of light's potential. The impossible had become merely improbable, and the improbable was merely tomorrow's challenge for a species that had never learned to accept limitations. Earth's story was just beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same again.